All right. Hello, everyone. So today we have a student from the University of California, Berkeley. His name is Kenneth. And Kenneth, can you go ahead and please introduce yourself?
Okay, so I'm Kenneth Mao, and right now I'm majoring in chemical engineering, but I might change my major, like do a joint major of chemical engineering with nuclear engineering or material science engineering, but it's still deciding. And I might minor in data science, so we'll see how that goes. And yeah, that's about it.
All right, sounds good. So Kenneth, obviously, there's kind of like this thing where chemical engineering is a pretty hard engineering course. I mean, engineering in general. But why did you choose to go into chemical engineering?
All right, so I basically go off what I'm interested in. So I enjoy math my entire life. So I was like, okay, I want to major in applied math in college. But then I started to like chem and then physics. So triple major is not like ideal. So chem is like the conclusion of all three.
All
And
right.
it's like a pretty easy decision.
Okay, that's awesome. And did you ever worry about the fact that it might be a difficult course or like a difficult major to go into?
Not really, because like I did like some research and then I looked through like the courses and I'd be like, okay, yeah, like if I did like some other major like chem or math, it's like similar stuff, so I'll be able to do it. So yeah.
All right, that's awesome. I like how you mentioned the fact that you researched and looked ahead into what classes you're going to take. And I think it's really good. So obviously you're attending UC Berkeley, which is what the public state university system in California. So why did you choose to go into Berkeley?
Also, after I decide my major, I just basically look up the ranking for the major, and then Berkeley was like the top three for my major, and I just applied there and got in.
Okay, there's like no other thing. It's just like because it was good for a major, you just decided to go for it.
Yeah, so basically when I do the college that I want to get into, I basically just base off the major
Mhm.
and I just research about which college or institution has like the good program for my major, and then Berkeley was one of the top. And yeah,
All right, that's awesome. And obviously, was there other schools that you're considering other than Berkeley, or was like kind of Berkeley relatively your dream school in a sense?
well, okay, so it was kind of like MIT, but MIT's MIT, so it's out of the equation. And then Berkeley, so Berkeley, yeah, is my dream school. But also apply to like other school that are like within California and some out of state, like other UCs, like UC Santa Barbara, Irvine, and San Diego, which have like chemical engineering program, and also some like private schools like Stanford, Princeton, and like some other private school that has like chemical engineering program. So basically, all the school that have like good engineering, like chemical engineering program, I apply and yeah.
All right, awesome. All right, so let's go ahead and actually take it a year back. Let's go back to when we were seniors in high school, applying to college. Now, I guess first and foremost, if you could just briefly summarize really fast, how would you describe your entire college application process?
Okay, so in the beginning, it's like, what do I do? Because it's like first time, right? So everybody's like, oh, what is this? What is that? But I think the hardest part was basically deciding like your major, because like we learn a lot of stuff before, like up to senior year. So it's like, what do I really want to do for maybe life? And so it's kind of hard to make the decision. But I guess for me, it's kind of easy. I just do some research, and then I decided my path. And then after that, I think it's college like application essays, because you try to be unique and creative, so you stand out. But it's hard to do so because there are like tons of applicants every year. And other than that, I think it's all good because like you can go online to look for help or just go to like your school to ask for your counselor's help and your friends. So I think overall it's like not that bad, but it just takes some time.
All right, awesome. And I think, I actually want to take it a little couple years before that, all the way back to freshman year of high school. Now, if you remember,
Okay.
we were in the same English class, and you actually moved from Hawaii to California, transitioning from one high school or, one school district to another. And personally for you, did you find that to be something incredibly difficult to do, like managing a new environment, finding new friends, or adapting to a new school system?
Okay, so before I went to Hawaii, I was in California still. So
Yeah.
I went to a middle school at like Alhambra, which is like some state near LA in California. So moving from there to like Hawaii for my first semester of freshman year of high school is kind of weird because it's like a different state, so it's like different like educational system, and then like there's like no friend, like no one that I know, so everything like starts from fresh. But it wasn't that bad at first because a lot of people just like got to a new school, right? So people are making friends and stuff, and then the process of transitioning was like okay because it's just like going to from middle school to high school is like a new start.
Mhm.
So moving from another state to like Hawaii is like not that bad. But like
Okay.
when I transferred from Hawaii back to like California or Acadia High School, it's kind of more like difficult because people already have their own group of like friends and like um school already like went on for like one semester, so people know like the surrounding and all. So it's kind of like hard to fit in at first, but like later you just like make friends and then everything's back to normal.
Yeah. And I asked this because I think it's very reflective of how it works from going from high school to college. We take that huge jump where we're meeting new people. But I guess for you, because it's during a time when you're a lot younger, and especially during a time where you actually need to develop your skills and the education in order to think about applying to college. I just mentioned that just to show that, you're still able to do it. And obviously you became very successful, even though you had this, like, I guess, mini time period. So yeah, it's definitely something to keep in mind. Now, going back to college application, um, what would you say was your best source of getting information and research? Like, was it talking to friends, talking to upperclassmen? Maybe your school provided resources. Maybe you have family members or older siblings. So, how did you get research or a better understanding of the entire college application process?
I guess it's like most from my friends and like from school. So my school or our school provided like information about like college app, and then like there's like presentations, and then like other school coming to our school to do like talk about the college app and then the school in general. And then I also talked to like my friends and like upperclassmen about like how the process goes for them. So I can get help from like a lot of people, and it wasn't that bad.
All right, perfect. And in talking to a lot of those upperclassmen or using the school resources, um, what were the things that you were trying to understand? Like, you mentioned talking to upperclassmen and trying to gain the information about the process. Were you just asking them pretty much generally about everything, or was there certain things you were trying to figure out?
Maybe just like recommendation when doing the college app
Okay,
because they've been through it, so they know some stuff. So yeah.
yeah, for sure. All right, awesome. And now, I guess just to wrap up the college application portion, um, if you could have changed anything, going back, if you had to redo the entire process, what would you have changed and why?
I'll say like nothing because I think
Really?
what I did was like maybe like the best I could at that moment of the time
Mm.
because I enjoy my major so far. Like after a year already, I enjoy it a lot. And then the school, I love it. So everything's like pretty well. So I think, yeah, it was
So,
good.
so you would say that, even though it wasn't like perfect, you wouldn't have changed anything because you're still happy where you currently got to?
Yeah, like because that lead to like where I am right now, and then I'm happy with it. So I'll say I just leave it like that.
All right, that's awesome. All right, so I guess now let's move away from college apps and go into more of your college lifestyle. So I guess the first question is, what was something that you got to do in college that you weren't able to do back in high school or in Southern California?
Well, I wouldn't say like anything changed that much
Hmm.
because I still like live the life that I used to live. But one thing that changed is like freedom ish. Like
Yeah,
you're on your own. Like your mom's not telling like, go to work,
yeah.
you gotta study hard, get that 4.0. I mean, they
Mhm.
still do, but like not like in person. So
Uh-huh.
it's like more about like what you really want to do. Like you have control over everything. So that's like I guess the biggest change.
All right, perfect. And I guess obviously going into another thing, you mentioned freedom and liberty, and I think one thing that we have a lot of freedom and liberty about is choosing what classes we want to take. So, how was your experience, having the freedom to choose your own classes rather than giving a set schedule of what you have to take?
Well, for me, it's kind of pretty straightforward and easy because, like I mentioned, I'm like chemical engineering. So I'm in College of Chemistry, which is like the smallest college at UC Berkeley.
Hmm.
So for there's only three major in the college. So they list out like basically all the classes you need to take for your major and then by year. So basically you just need to follow the schedule. But like some like small parts like breadth requirement or the general education, you can choose. So I guess that's the only thing I need to worry about. So I'll say like overall, it wasn't that much freedom, but also it's like kind of freedom. So it's like a mix of both, which is like not that bad.
All right, that's awesome. And now, obviously, I think talking about classes, I guess I have two questions for you. The first one regarding your classes is, how are your class sizes? Like, are they bigger or small? And like, do they have a lab portion with it? Because being at a public school system, you guys have like a higher population of students compared to a private school like where I'm going at USC. So, how are your class sizes?
Okay, so for my math class and like chemistry class, it's roughly about like 200 to 300 people for the
Mm,
lecture. But each week there's 2 to 3 lecture and then it's like 3 hour total for the lecture. And there's also 3 hour for the discussion. For
mm,
discussion, it's like breaking to smaller parts. So it's like 20 people to 30 people like per discussion. And
mm.
then for chemistry, there's also like a lab portion. And the lab has like 20 to 30 people, depends on
Okay.
the time. And then it's basically like high school labs, if anyone have attended at like any high school lab, but like, it's just like more complicated and then takes more time.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Chemistry labs are a lot more complicated than they
Yep.
were in high school. They're definitely hard, and you have a lot of lab reports, so that's definitely one thing. So I think now my follow-up to the second part of this discussion about classes is it true that Berkeley classes are hard?
Well, um, I guess they're harder than high school. I'll
Mhm.
say that for sure. But if you just do all the work and like maybe like read the textbook, because you should read the textbook,
Yeah.
because the lecture doesn't cover all the stuff. And I guess that for me, I'll say they're harder than like high school, but I'm not sure about like others like colleges and stuff. So I can't say like oh Berkeley's harder, but I'll
Yeah,
say it's like yeah harder than what you've been through so far.
it's awesome. Yeah, I know. I mean, I think in general, college is pretty much harder than most schools. There's just like, a lot of students, depending on certain schools, they can be considered harder than others. So I
Yeah,
think it's just something that a lot of students, they actually ask, is going to Berkeley pretty hard? Because, it's known to be one of the best, public schools in the nation and, even better than a lot of privates. But, you have to wonder the academic difficulties and challenges of the specific institution as well, too. So, going
I'll
off on that.
say it might be hard, but there's also like resources that help you to understand the material.
Hmm.
So I'll say like if you have like trouble like with anything, just reach out. There's like a lot of resources like friends, GSI, or like the TA. At Berkeley it's called GSI, but like other schools like TA and stuff. So just reach out to your GSI and professor. So although you might find like harder than like a lot of other school that your friends attend, but if you reach out and like actually like just study and then just try your best, you'll be fine.
That's awesome. And you actually mentioned a lot of good things that I was actually going to ask you. You mentioned like you have your TAs or GSIs, you have your professors and all these resources. So at least personally for you, what was your academic or just support system in college? Like who did you reach out to or people that you referred to in order to help you progress through college?
Well, so I might not be a good influence, but I never attended any office hour.
Oh, okay.
Yep. But my GSLs be big help if I need them. Like during like lab and stuff, if I have like some question, some concern about like how does that work and like why doing that leads to like a certain like result, I would ask them and then they'll take the time and like come up with example to help me. So they would I should be big help if you need them. Like my friend, they reach out and they got help and it was great. And then for me, I most likely just to do like study session with my friends.
Mhm.
So basically just like do like problem sets and like the form like the exams from like other years to practice. And yeah, that was about it.
All right, that's awesome. And would you say that a lot of the study skill sets that you took from high school still play into effect in college, or did you have to change up the way you study and stuff?
Not really, because the high school I'm from, Acadia High School, is pretty competitive. So
Hmm.
Berkeley is basically just like a larger size Acadia High School. So it wasn't that bad for me.
Uh-huh.
But I guess like for other friends, like I talked to them, like, oh my God, this school is like so competitive. So I guess it's kind of hard for other people coming from like high school that's not that competitive.
Hmm.
So I'll say just like get used to the system and don't like compete with other people. Just like be yourself, I would say. Just like
Hmm.
try the best you can. And yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I really like that advice. Definitely coming from a school that was really competitive to one that I think was a lot more cooperative. I really enjoy the fact of having people that would actually be willing to help me out and stuff. So yeah, it's awesome. And let's go, I guess, a little bit away from academics now, talking more about extracurriculars. So what are some like extracurriculars you're participating in Berkeley? And if you want to go ahead and explain some of them.
Okay. So basically first semester I didn't really like do anything because I was just busy like making friends. So I was just hanging out with my floor mates, like people I met from my classes, and then just like checking out like the surrounding, like the school, the city, and like just going out and stuff. And then second semester, I look into like a more like social connection and stuff. So
Mhm.
I joined like not joined, I'm pledging a dry slash social frat, I mean service frat.
Uh,
So I like other frat, like this frat's dry, so like no like drinking and stuff.
hmm.
And that also means like we don't have a frat house because no party. So basically, like this one's like more about like doing service for the school or for the community, and then you meet a lot of people, and then you'll be able to like do service if that's what you like in your free time. And then yeah, like I met a lot of people like through this fraternity, and then I enjoy it so far. So it's pretty good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think it's really good. I definitely recommend that too because a lot of people they think that once they get into the first semester that they have to do a lot of clubs and stuff. But I would argue that finding friends would probably be a better way to go first. First off,
Yeah.
because especially since a lot of the clubs you're interested in, realistically, I know it's probably applies to me that a lot of clubs I checked out, I wasn't interested in a lot of them that I thought I was going to be. So I ended up with a lot smaller pool of clubs than what I originally intended for. But yeah, I think it's definitely interesting, how you mentioned, starting off taking first semester slowly, finding friends first, and then eventually going into clubs and other organizations. So yeah, I think that's really great. Another thing I want to mention is, you mentioned finding friends and you talk about your floor mates a lot too. So can you explain, I guess, your whole dormitory experience, how that went for you?
Okay, so at UC Berkeley, there's like I guess I see sections of like
Mhm.
dorms, and for me, I live in Unit Two, which is like a comp, like I guess a plaza ish with like six buildings,
Mhm.
and then I live in like one of the building called Griffith, and then basically each building has like 7 to 8 floors, and I live on second floor, and then it's like both gender floor, and then it's kind of weird at first because you guys share the restroom together.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of weird, but like you get used to it. And then I'll say like when you at least first year, most of your friend would be like from your dorms or floor mates because you see them every day. Like you just like say hi and stuff, and eventually you guys would get close and talk to each other and become friends. It's kind of hard for me at least to make friend as classes because the class
Mhm.
size is like pretty big,
Yeah.
and then like yeah, it's just kind of hard. So that's why for me like most of my friends are from my floor or like from my building. So I guess that's why.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you on that. A lot of students they have their own ways of finding friends, and the dorm is definitely, I guess, the best way or a good way to start, especially since you're gonna be living with those people, so pretty much the entire like year. So you might as well like befriend them because otherwise, things would probably get a little bit awkward. But yeah,
Yeah,
no, I
for sure.
definitely agree with you on that one. And I guess other than friends or finding friends in your case like outside of the floor, what would you say was your biggest struggle coming into college, and how did you overcome it if you believe that you overcame it so far?
Biggest trouble. I'll say like organizing and then just like deciding what you want to do.
Hmm.
Because there are like so many options, like choosing a class and then like all the clubs, like
Mm,
organizations, like just what do you want to do every day.
yeah.
So people like might just like finish their work and be like, oh, I'm gonna play video game. I'm gonna watch
Mm,
YouTube until like 3 a.m. or like
mm,
for all nighter just doing nothing. So I'll say like it's hard. It's better to set your priorities like first, so you have like idea of like what you actually do every day, and
mm,
then like just get used to the new environment. Because a lot of people like might be their first time like leaving their home or like family for like I don't know how long, like at least a month, I would say.
yeah.
So it's probably like hard for them, for a lot of people at first. So just get used to the environment first, and then just like keep on doing what you have been doing for like up to college, I would say, and then you should be fine.
All right, that's awesome. And I guess, just to wrap up this entire video and, I guess if you could give any advice to high school students, whether that be about the college application process, the college lifestyle, or just life advice in general, what would you tell them?
Okay, so I would say like when coming to choose a major, if you have no idea, you can put like what you're interested in so far, like out of all the classes you take, you can think back and be like, do I really want to do this for my entire life? If the answer is yes, well, just put it as a major. If not, you can put like no major at first, because first year of college is most likely like general education. So just take classes that it's like the general ed and maybe like classes you're interested in. So that way you might find like a course or like a major that you're actually interested in, and then you can be declared for the major. So it's okay to do like undeclared when it comes to like college app, like choosing a major, because even though you choose like a major that you're not that interested, you might end up changing it anyway. So I'll say undeclared is not like a big deal, so just don't worry about like choosing undeclared if you're not sure. And the other one basically just like make friends, because college, like everyone goes in like not knowing anyone basically. So you might want to make some connection because it's gonna help you. Like if you have like a hard time, you can reach out to people, or like if you're bored, you can be like, hey, you want to go out? And then yeah, so just like make friends and just get used to the environment.
Yeah,
And
it's
yeah,
awesome. Yeah, I think that's really great advice. I like how you touch up on the undeclared thing because not everyone has like I would say like to some extent their life figured out. They don't know what to study and stuff. So it's definitely important to consider just going in college with a fresh, open mindset. And yeah, definitely making friends. I think that's something that a lot of people you'll hear from not only just you but a lot of people in general will say make friends, make those connections, find a social group because it does help. It's like it is your support system. It is your way of being able to relax and have fun with other people. But yeah, I definitely think those are some really great advices to give to students. And yeah, obviously, Kenneth, we want to thank you so much for coming out and being able to talk in this video. And obviously, we hope that everyone that's watching this gets a lot of information that you've said so far. So yeah, thanks.